You're listening to the Manning Up on Real Estate podcast with your host, Cameron Manning. We bring you the industry experts each episode who will help you man up on your real estate career. What is going on when it comes to real estate in Canada? That's something I'd like to find out. What's going to happen with interest rates? Are prices going to go up or are prices going to go down? These are all things that we need to get answered. This weekend, I am in the right room to do that. I'm here at the Keyspire Investor Summit, where over 5,000 investors are going to be coming out to learn exactly what they need to do to succeed in the current market. But not only that, I am surrounded by professionals who are experts in their fields from all across Canada. And this weekend, I'm going to go and try to talk to as many as I possibly can and get their input as to what is happening in the real estate market across Canada. So as the Vancouver realtors, we obviously know what's happening with the Vancouver market. But the key thing with this event is that they bring out experts from all across Canada to really give their members an opportunity to pick the market where the returns are best. And in my humble opinion, we've got some amazing projects here that we've been showing off, but our goal here is to go and really experience what it's like to go across Canada and find out the feeling that everyone has when it comes to the future of Canadian real estate. All right, we're going to start with our first interview here, and today we're going to stop off with Natasha Phipps out of the Calgary market. I gotta say, she's honestly I would say the queen of the Calgary market. I've done a lot of referrals back and forth with her over the years, and we've seen each other quite a bit at this event. And so obviously, definitely someone I want to stop off with. Not only that, not only is she dominating in the Calgary market, she's also launched WealthShare, where she's raising capital, doing some big projects. So I thought she'd be one of the perfect people to come and talk to. So Natasha, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Just wanted to say, we're trying to get a gauge on what's happening in the real estate market. Obviously, there's a lot of doom and gloom out there. People are scared, interest rates were crazy. Now markets are up, markets are down. What are your thoughts on what's happening in the market, especially in the Calgary area right now?
Yeah, I think Calgary's been in its own unique spot in the last few years, right? High interest rates, high inflation, everyone's worried about money was driving people to Alberta. And we've had significant population growth because of that.
That probably
all
a lot
of
coming
Alberta.
from Vancouver, right?
Oh, Vancouver and Toronto, just like planefuls of people, right, moving to Alberta.
Yeah.
So that has kept our market strong in this high interest period.
Right.
So, but right now, I think at this exact moment, there is also a bit of a pause happening with a lot of buyers. They're going, okay, maybe I'll wait 6 months or 12 months. And so we're seeing a bit more balanced conditions right now in Calgary, just moving into the fall. Some seasonal slowdown, but there could be really good opportunities for investors this fall. One thing is my big kind of caution, not caution, but you need to be strategic, right? Mm-hmm. Not everything is a good investment just because it's in Calgary.
For sure.
And I think that's what a lot of investors need to remind themselves.
Absolutely.
So we do have lots of land in Alberta, not like Vancouver, we got so much land. And so if you're buying in Calgary, be strategic. Work with someone who knows the city and knows the market, because not everything is created equally, really.
100%.
And so that's the message.
And that's, I think, one of the most important things is working with people who really understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Just like our market in Vancouver, just like any market, a lot of people get into the industry because they think, hey, this is a great way to make some money and do that, but they don't take the time to really become an expert. And that's definitely something that Natasha's done in the market. Now, I have a question. You mentioned that, okay, we're getting through some seasonality. Buyers are taking a bit of a pause.
Yeah.
What do you think is causing some of that pause in the market?
I think there's just been a lot of fence sitting in the last few years. The investor demand in Alberta has really helped keep our market strong.
Absolutely.
And really, really strong sellers market. But we've increased more inventory on the rental side. Yeah. Those tenants that have been renting for the last few years could now very well turn into buyers next year. Yeah. And I do think the pause is driven around, let's wait. I may as well wait to see what interest rates do in the next, 6 months, few months. But then we're going to see a surge into the market again, and prices
100%.
are going to go up. So you may as well buy now, honestly. But that's, I think, the pause. People are a little hesitant. But for investors, there's things for sale now that 3 months ago we just couldn't find. So it's a good time.
Absolutely. So what you're saying is that inventory is growing a little bit. Yeah. There's less demand. So as an investor, this is the biggest issue. Investors, in my opinion, should be buying in balanced or buyers markets.
Yes.
But they always get scared and wait till after the first-time home buyers are in and all the upsizers and the downsizers are all moving. Yeah. Investors suddenly try to run into the market.
Absolutely.
So they've got to take advantage while it's
Yeah,
the buyer's market.
100%. Like when all the sheep are going this way, often you kind of got to think about what am I missing, right?
Exactly.
And so, and the other thing we're seeing is a lot of these investors are using realtors from other markets and buying in Alberta, and they're going to get caught because those folks don't know our city, they don't know our market.
Totally.
So really, really important to be working with someone who knows the market, as you know.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, just what are your thoughts? We're heading into, we're basically Q4 now. We're heading into the next year. Obviously, we've seen rates start to come down.
Yes.
Again, but even though rates came down, everyone was like, great, rates are going to come down, the market's going to flood. It hasn't happened yet. What are your predictions as we head into 2025 for the Calgary market and just the market in general in Canada?
Yeah, I think that's going to give a lot of confidence.
Yep.
But I also don't think it's going to be like snap your fingers and everything's fixed, right? There's still a lot of fear and uncertainty, but Calgary specifically, I do think we have built up a lot of tenants who will turn into buyers.
Right.
So those people, they're now settled, they love our city, they're making roots, and they're going to turn into buyers. So I do think we are going to see tight conditions again in the spring and summer, just like we've had the last few years. So I think it's going to follow that pattern.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time today, and I hope you absolutely crush it here at the conference.
Thank you.
I mean, again, where can we find you on social media?
I'm pretty easy to find. You can find me anywhere, but our website is phippsgroup.ca, and all of our socials are linked on there. So that's probably the easiest way.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. All right, we're here for our next interview. We're here with Don Mackey from the Cambridge market. We just want to talk a little bit about what's happening in your market right now. What are you starting to see? What are the trends for buyers, sellers right now?
Yeah, the trends I'm seeing, everybody needs an income suite.
100%.
So everybody I'm talking to, they want to buy something either adding value, a bungalow with a side entrance, put a suite in it, add value.
For sure.
Mom and dad, maybe time to sell the house, give the retirement money to the kids, and then mom and dad can live in the basement. Now we've got live-in daycare.
Beauty.
So an income suite is everything right now for most families. I've got downsizers going into smaller places, more affordable. However, a little bit more gutsy people out there are starting to bite the bullet, so to speak, and they're buying investment properties. They're dating the rate and marrying the product.
That's what they absolutely have to do right now, right? I mean, at the end of the day, rates aren't going to stay this high for long. We've already seen them start to come down.
Yeah.
And people are still, I've seen so many people say, I'm going to continue to wait for the rates to drop further. But we all know if those rates continue to drop far enough, what's going to happen to prices, right?
Right, they're going to skyrocket.
That's exactly it. So what are you seeing right now in terms of when I talk to different agents from across Canada, people are feeling different things. Some people are seeing the inventory has risen, buyers have stabilized a little bit. Yep. What's going on in the Cambridge market?
The Cambridge market, specifically, I would say we have two groups of people in the market.
Right.
We have the want to sell.
Yeah.
These people probably want last year's prices.
Of course.
So they're a little bit overpriced.
Yeah.
That's the property we all see. It's down the road. The neighbors are talking about it. Things are not selling.
Yeah.
Well, it's last year's price.
Of course.
I've got the need to sell.
Yeah.
And that's as a real estate agent who you want to be dealing with, the need to sell. They have something, maybe it's a little too expensive.
Yeah.
And they need to sell to buy something more affordable.
Absolutely.
Or they need to sell to buy something bigger.
Right.
Little baby on the way.
Or downsizing.
Or mom and dad going to the basement. So we have the have to sell and the want to sell.
Yeah.
So those kind of the two groups in there that we're seeing today.
For sure. Now from the investment standpoint, then, so working with the investors, we're here obviously at the Investor Summit. We're focusing on investors. What is the big key takeaway or piece of advice that you could give to an investor right now for them to be able to lock down and start taking action in your market and actually succeed in today's market?
What I'm seeing most of are these income suites.
The income suites,
And it doesn't really matter where they are.
Right.
A first-time investor, a new investor can manage their own.
Yeah.
And what I'm seeing the most demand for is, for instance, if you bought $1 million home, if you had $1 million cash and you bought $1 million home, it's going to be hard to rent out that basement.
For sure.
I could probably buy 5 or even 6 small bungalows, rent the main floor and rent the basement and be cash flow positive.
Right.
So the rookie, so to speak, first-time investor, this is exactly what they're looking for.
For sure.
And I have ready bungalows just like that all around the Paris area, Brantford, less expensive to buy and better cash flow.
That's fantastic.
So that's what I'm seeing most of.
And I mean, I'm sure you can probably agree with this, but some awesome opportunities too is if someone really wants to get creative to maximize return, buying something where it doesn't have the suite, but adding the suite.
Add value.
Right? Add value so you get the immediate boost, and then you get the cash flow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Now, okay, we're going into 2025. I've been asking everyone this. what is your, and again, we don't have a crystal ball, and I get that. What are some of the predictions that you had that you were going to see in the market just in general in your area and kind of for Canada as a whole?
Things have got to turn up as far as prices go. Yeah. And I believe from now, before Christmas, we'll see 0.75 basis rate cut. So it's either going to be a 0.5 and then a 2.5 or a 2.5 and a 0.5.
Right.
As prices come down, the seasonality of Christmas is going to be a bit slower.
Right.
That's when I start telling people, get on the market, there's less competition. Mm-hmm. And as a buyer, we should probably get out there right now and buy, there's less competition.
Absolutely.
So I believe rates are going to fall. The seasonality will let it slow down. Yeah. It's a great time to buy. I think it's exciting for investors right now.
I completely agree with that.
Opportunity is there.
And I mean, at the end of the day, you got to be buying when no one else is buying.
Right.
My best investments I've ever sold is during the Christmas market, right? Because, again, the average buyer who doesn't need to buy, they're going to take it off and go back and start looking in January. So 100%, go take advantage of the market while it's at. All right, final question.
Sure.
Where can anyone find you?
I'm Don Mackey, Rebel Realty in Cambridge. They can call me at 519-654-8237. My cell, realtydon.com.
realtydon.com. There we go.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, so right now we're trying to chat with a few of the realtors around the area. We were about to talk to Mike Heddle, but he's going to take a call because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that they're getting their deals done. So we're going to keep talking to other realtors and really just dive into these markets, what's actually happening in Canada, and just get that general consensus. So we got Jesse here. He's just dropping knowledge right now when it comes to investing, and I just love what he just said, and absolutely you guys got to listen to this. Go ahead.
Yeah, Cameron, so every call that we start with our clients, we always tell them first things first is that, like you and I just spoke off camera, people think real estate's a get-rich-quick scheme. It is not. It is a get-rich-slow scheme. This is wealth building for the future. So like I always say, the money that you're going to be parting with today, you're not parting with it. You're putting it into another form of a savings account, which is a real estate investment that will go up in value over time. Yeah. If you cannot comfortably afford or know and sleep at night that money is into another investment, then you shouldn't be in this anyways. Yes. This is not, you're not cut out for it. And sometimes we have to turn people away because it's not for you.
Absolutely. And I mean, at the end of the day, like we were talking about, again, off camera, don't invest money that you're not ready to lose, but you only lose when you sell.
Totally.
That's where it's at. If you sell the property at a loss, well, that is because of two reasons. One, you didn't pre-plan ahead of time to have those ebbs and flows, because the market is cyclical and you have to be ready to ride those cycles through. And two, if you're not able to, you better be ready to make that loss, but then focus on making sure you do it better the next time.
Agreed. Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
Awesome.
You took the words right out of my mouth, buddy.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate
it. So it's day 3 of the Real Estate Investor Summit here with Keyspire, and we're going to try to find a few more of the industry experts to talk to, find out what's really happening in the market in Canada. So let's go take a look at who we can find. All right, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to head over to the REC booth, check out who's over there, because those guys in Toronto are absolute killers when it comes to working with investors. And I know they're going to have a lot of insights as to what's going on, especially because the Toronto market, being very similar to the Vancouver market where we operate in, goes through a lot of the same cyclicality. So I think let's go see who's over there and who we can talk to. All right, we're here at the REC booth. Again, I mentioned to you guys that we wanted to make sure we stop here because like you guys in the Toronto market, similar to the Vancouver market, you guys have a wealth of knowledge. You guys, big investment team. In fact, you work a lot with the investment clients as well and helping people across Canada. So this is Tyler. So I'm really excited. Welcome to the channel here. Tyler, I've got a few questions I've been asking experts throughout the room on what's going on in real estate in Canada. I want your perspective. What do you think is going on? How's the market? What do people need to know about it?
Sure, and thank you for having me, Cameron. So right now, what I'm finding is the market is in a turbulent period, especially in two of our markets, Vancouver and Toronto. We are seeing signs, especially with the month of inventory increasing, that we are in a depreciation cycle.
Yeah.
What have I noticed? I've noticed that it has created a lot of friction for the everyday consumer and the everyday investor entering into the market.
Yeah.
You can couple that with interest rates, Cameron. You can couple that with lack of confidence in the market, as well as rising prices. Because the other thing that I'm noticing is that our market's actually very resilient.
Yes.
Our floor is holding very strong, and time will tell to see where it actually will lie. I'm also noticing there's a large number of institutional investors who are entering into our market. And that's very significant. These are large capital-backed groups that are buying multifamily, that are buying single-family homes, and that are taking away our already limited inventory of that the everyday consumer should be looking at.
Yeah.
There is opportunity in chaos, but in saying that, Cameron, you need to have a proper plan. You need to ask yourself as an investor these critical questions so you can make the right decision.
100%.
Because I believe the next decade will not be like the one that we just saw in the greater Vancouver area as well as the greater Toronto area. For the last 10 years, we were doing this. We're closing our eyes, picking a spot on the map, entering into the market. It doesn't matter the micro market movements. It doesn't matter fundamentally what's going on there. The values are growing 8 to 12% per year by just you being in. And that, I do not believe we will see that in most markets. So we have to invest with purpose. We have to have the right team around you.
100%. I think what you said really hits home is that you have to look at the fundamentals again. I do believe you're exactly right on that. People stop looking at the fundamentals of real estate, looking for where there's industry growth, where there's job growth. Anywhere could make money when the market's hot across the board. And I mean, obviously through 2020, 2021, we were in high inflationary times, right? The government was printing money left, right, and center. The values were going up. We had super low interest rates. Buckle that with low inventory. Any investment was a slam dunk until it wasn't.
The market did the hardest thing, especially on the sales organization standpoint, is that in the last 10 years, the market created urgency. The urgency to buy. And these types of markets now are ones that I believe investors will truly build the right wealth and build the right plan because you have the ability to breathe.
And I think key that too is the fact our rates are up, right? So, when you're banking on low interest rate markets and that's what was creating your cash flow, the minute there's a fluctuation in interest rates, everyone got burned. Right? Anyone who's banking on the fact that, hey, I'm going to run my numbers at a 2% interest rate and, oh, look, I'm making $100 a month cash flow. The minute that 2% goes to 6%, $100 gets eaten up real fast.
It does.
So now we're sitting there building on a better foundation because we're actually buying properties at a 5.5% or 6%, and it can only go down from there, meaning your cash flow would improve. It's not likely to go as high, so you're building on a more stable foundation.
And it's I think a learning lesson for many investors 100%. Is to diversify, to strategically plan the payout dates on your passive stuff in your portfolio, as well as the interest rates on your active portfolio. Everything has to stagger to hedge against some of these turbulent points.
And we're talking about it with a few of the other people. At the end of the day, real estate's a long-term play. And I think too many investors focused on the short term. Right, they were trying.
Well, that's because they made $100,000 a year,
but they felt they had to cash it out. Right, instead of just letting that even compound further. So if investors start thinking,
that's a good point.
Right, $100,000, great. Well, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years from now, that could be 300, 400, 500.
That's right.
Right, so people are focusing too much on the short term. Now we're heading into 2025. We're in quarter 4 right now of 2024. What are some of your predictions, for the real estate market in Greater Toronto and in Canada in general as we head in? Now, again, we don't have a crystal ball. Anything can change between, we've got elections coming up down the States. We've got provincial election happening. Anything could change. But what are your thoughts as we head into the new year, and what's some of the advice you're giving to clients?
And that's a great question, Cameron. I'm really looking forward to analyzing the market and seeing what's happen or what will happen, because no one does have a crystal ball. But my predictions is that for the next year, 12 months, we will start to see interest rates going down a little bit, but I don't think that will get the majority of consumers into the market and entering at that point. I think that's going to happen starting in 2017, mid-2027, sorry.
We're
going back into a good one. Mid-2027, in fact, probably earlier to the late 2027, early 2028 is when we're starting to see this pressure happen again. But for the immediate 12 months, I think what's going to happen is we're going to see rates kind of stay the same, stagnant. I'm really looking forward to analyzing the condo sector specifically. We have in the GTA about 7.5 months of open inventory. That's not including developers' inventory that's not posted. I want to see what's going to happen there. Can investors hold on? What's going to happen once rates lower and it gets a little bit more affordable? So I believe it's going to stay stagnant again. And
but you know what? There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
because when you're getting in now, you can actually make an offer, negotiate, work on the fundamentals, and analyze your property, and then sit on it.
It's funny you said that, because what's happening in Vancouver and Toronto is not what's happening in other parts of the country.
Not.
And what's happening, for example, in Calgary and Edmonton, I was speaking at an event there last weekend, so it's fresh in my mind, is they're currently experiencing rapid appreciation.
Of course.
So they're in an appreciation cycle, whereas we seem to be in a depreciation cycle of sorts. And what I spoke to those investors about, because they're not used to those types of conditions that we are as investment advisors in a hot market, I tried to talk about ways to put your best foot forward, because there will be a point that the market is now urgent, which it is there, and you're going to make a fast decision, but maybe not a right decision.
Correct.
So how do you find the right opportunities that are for you, or that are right for you?
And that really brings me to a point, and I've talked about it on this channel, I've talked about it a lot, is that we don't have a Canadian real estate market. Correct. Right? Because what's happening in Toronto and Vancouver, our markets do operate similarly, just due to the type of market that we're in, traditionally condo markets, higher populations, things like that. But when you start talking about how Alberta's having, a bit of a bigger boom than we're having, we're in a bit of a slum, that means that there's no Canadian market. Oh, yeah. When you see the news saying the Canadian real estate, well, we have submarkets. And within the submarkets, we have even lower submarkets. Just in Toronto alone, you've got the different areas of Toronto. Then in those different areas, you've got detached properties versus townhouses. Condos could be 1 bedroom versus studio versus 2 bedroom. Yeah. All of them move independently. And that's where, having experts like Tyler here is absolutely key to be able to analyze for your property portfolios and make sure you're setting it up the right way.
That's right. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate it. As always, we really love REC out in BC. You guys are doing a great job, and keep educating people. You guys, great content.
And make sure to follow Cameron. If you're watching this right now and you don't hit that subscribe button, what are we doing?
I appreciate it. Okay, quick question to wrap it up. Where do they find you?
Oh, yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Tyler Walbourne.
All right, appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you.
Cheers. And because we are at the REC booth, we got to love all these guys. I got to say hi to Luc here quickly, because it's been a long time. Brother, how you doing, man?
What are we doing here?
We're just saying hi, seeing what's going on in REC land.
All right,
talk to me what's going on.
I'll talk to you about anything as long as I don't incriminate myself.
All right, so what are you doing underground these days? I'm just kidding. Talk to me about what's happening at REC. What are you guys working on these days?
Right now, just today here at the Keyspire conference, we launched this project called Birchley Park. It's a new opportunity that we're excited to bring because of the additional incentives that we had worked for. We actually had to grind with the developer. We had to negotiate for these incentives, and we were able to make it happen. So
love it.
We're excited.
And I think there's an opportunity in the market right now, because back when it was super hot and development sold out in a weekend, you couldn't grind and get those incentives. Now you're able to bring these to investors because the market's changed, right?
Absolutely, because obviously sales volume across the board has slowed down. Yeah. We have a little bit of leverage now, right? As with any other negotiation scenario. So here we were able to negotiate for a couple of things. One, a rental guarantee in writing.
That's fantastic, yeah.
So on a Toronto proper condo, we're actually cash flowing.
Love it.
We never hear that.
No.
Down payment, only 5% needed. Ridiculous. Just to start, ridiculous. 5% needed. And obviously a handful of other things.
That's until closing.
5% now, 5% in a year from now, but nothing else until
still,
closing.
I mean, so you're spreading out your deposit over a year now. You're not having to put all that capital and tying it up all at once. So that's a great incentive. I mean, anytime you can spread your payments, it lets you do other things with your capital and continue to grow your portfolio.
Yeah,
right?
That's absolutely it. And closing is in 2028 or 9. So it gives us a long runway to let market recover.
Dynamics change and everything like that. Awesome. What are your thoughts going into 2025? What are some of your predictions?
All 5 major banks have the same predictions, so I'm on board with them. They're all optimistic about the fact that rates are coming down.
Yeah.
They're targeting around 3.5 by November of next year. So I'm pretty much in alignment with them there. And because of that, I'm bullish. Yeah. I'm bullish and I'm optimistic.
Awesome. Where do they find you on social, man?
Instagram, you can follow me at Luc Lising, Luclising.
All right, brother, appreciate it. Good seeing you, man. You bet, absolutely.
Yeah.
That is it. The Keyspire Investor Summit is over. I hope you guys found a lot of value in today's video when we talked with all these experts about what is happening in the real estate market across Canada. And at the end of the day, what we really found out was there's no such thing as the Canadian real estate market. There is sub-markets across Canada. Canada. So no matter what you're doing, buying, selling, or investing, you need to make sure you're linking up with the right experts in order to give you the best advice so you can take the proper advantage. And if you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast, don't forget to leave a review. All of your feedback definitely helps us create more amazing content for you. And don't forget to follow me on all of my social media. You can find me on youtube.com/Cameron Manning, Instagram, Facebook, and of course TikTok. And we will hear from you guys and talk to you guys in the next episode of the Manning Up on Real Estate podcast.